This is Ron Kelleher with the Inspired Leadership Podcast, episode number 571. Today's episode is entitled, Chances Are Your Employees' Core Values Are Not What You Think.
Hello, and welcome to Inspired Leadership, the podcast for Christian leaders in the marketplace who want to be the best leaders they can be. And now your host, Ron Kelleher.
I hate to break it to you, but your employees' core values are probably not what you think. Furthermore, their values are probably very different from yours as a Christian leader in America. The Cultural Research Center of Arizona Christian University released the America's Values study that examined the worldviews of Americans. The study was a comprehensive research project that examined various aspects of American values, beliefs, and attitudes. In summarizing the data, people's stated core values across various topics were segmented into three worldviews. They called them integrated disciples, emergent followers, and world citizens. Integrated disciples were defined as having a biblical worldview. Emergent followers lean towards a biblical worldview but don't have a fully formed one. And finally, world citizens who lack all or most of the elements that typically define a biblical worldview. So let's take a moment. Here's a summary of each of the three worldviews. First up, integrated disciples. They were 6% of the survey population. Integrated disciples are characterized by a religious commitment. Integrated disciples have a strong and traditional religious commitment. They prioritize their faith as a guiding principle in their lives. They have moral and social values. They tend to hold conservative moral and social values, often aligning with traditional Christian teachings on issues like abortion and same-sex marriage. In terms of political engagement, integrated disciples are likely to be more politically engaged and identify with conservative or Republican political ideologies. And in terms of the climate change, integrated disciples are skeptical of the government intervention in environmental issues and climate change policies. Next up is the emergent followers. They were 19% of the survey respondents. Emergent followers have a more flexible approach to religion. They may still identify with a religious tradition, but are open to exploring alternative spiritual paths. Their moral and social values tend to be more progressive and inclusive, often diverging from traditional Christian teachings on issues like LGBTQ plus rights. Emergent followers are also less likely to align with a specific political party and may be more politically independent or moderate. And finally, emergent followers are more supportive of government action to address climate change and environmental issues. And last up, world citizens, a whopping 75% of the respondents. World citizens have a secular worldview that prioritizes global concerns over religious or national identity. They hold liberal and progressive moral and social values, often supporting causes such as gender equality and environmental sustainability. World citizens are more likely to lean towards liberal or democratic political ideologies, but may also identify with political independence. And world citizens strongly endorse government intervention to combat climate change and advocate for international cooperation on environmental issues. Well, overall, what surprised and honestly concerned me was the breakdown of the percentage of people who fit into each worldview group. Integrated disciples, those with a fully formed biblical worldview, represent only 6% of the population. These are the most biblically sound with conservative moral and social values. Emergent followers with a partially formed biblical worldview represent just 19% of the population, and they're open to following various religious paths and are more progressive in their moral and social views. And finally, these world citizens, representing a whopping 75% of our population, 3 out of 4 people ascribe to a secular view with progressive or liberal social and moral values. So suppose you're leading a secular business. In that case, you can pretty safely assume that even though 81% of Americans say they believe in God, 3/4 of your employees are really world citizens who entirely eschew a biblical worldview. Another 19%, or nearly 1 out of 5, have progressive social and moral values that contradict a biblical worldview. And sadly, only 6 out of 100 employees have a biblical worldview that aligns with yours. I suspect that even if you're leading a parachurch or a church, these worldview breakdowns will hold true. So what's a leader to do? How can we be effective leaders and witnesses of our faith when 94% of the population doesn't align with our biblical worldview? In a word, it's our witness. In Matthew 5:13-16, Jesus calls his followers to be salt of the earth and the light of the world. This charge is not just for our personal lives, but it extends into our leadership. As Christian leaders, we have a unique opportunity to influence our workplace through our character, actions, and decisions. We're called to add value, like salt, and illuminate truth and goodness, like light, in our work environments. Here are 8 ways we can positively influence our workplaces based on our core values as integrated disciples. First, be salt. Enhance and preserve. As salt enhances flavor and preserves food, seek to enhance your organization's culture and preserve its moral integrity. This might mean promoting ethical business practices, fostering a culture of respect and integrity, and caring for the well-being of your employees. Second, be light, illuminate, and guide. Like light dispels darkness, aim to bring clarity, truth, and positive direction in your leadership. This could involve being transparent in your communications, making decisions that reflect your Christian values, and guiding your team with wisdom and discernment. Third, lead by example. Remember, the most powerful witness is often our example. Strive to reflect Christ in your work, in your actions, in your decisions. This means practicing patience, showing kindness, acting justly, and offering forgiveness. Fourth, cultivate an inclusive environment. While maintaining your faith principles, create a workplace where all feel valued and included. And this includes respecting diverse perspectives and beliefs and trying to find common ground. Fifth, engage in constructive conversations. Encourage open dialogue about values, ethics, and worldviews. This is not about imposing beliefs, but about sharing perspectives in a respectful and understanding manner. Sixth, serve others. Look for opportunities to serve your employees and community. This could be through community service initiatives, employee assistance programs, or simply being available and attentive to your team's needs. Seventh, pray for wisdom. As a leader, you need wisdom to navigate complex situations and make decisions that align with your faith. Regularly seek God's guidance and wisdom in your leadership journey. And number 8, invest in personal growth. Continue to grow in your faith and understanding. This personal growth will spill over into your leadership, enriching your ability to lead effectively and compassionately. In essence, being salt and light as a Christian leader means positively influencing your workplace through your faith-filled leadership. It's about making a difference, not by forcing beliefs, but by exemplifying Christ's love, grace, and truth in every aspect of your leadership. Let's embrace this challenge, remembering that our ultimate goal is not just organizational success, but being faithful stewards of the influence that God's granted us. Well, that's it for this week, and as always, questions and comments are welcome. What's your reaction to the split of the 3 worldviews, and how does that impact your leadership? I'd love it if you'd come over to the website at ronkelleher.com/episode 571 and leave me a question or a comment. And as always, before we go, I'd like to ask you to do me a quick favor, and that is to hop on over to whatever podcast service you're listening to this on. Leave a ranking for the show and a comment if you wish. It really does help us get the show into the hands of more and more people. So I thank you in advance for that and pray that God would help us all to be the powerful and the inspired leaders He intends us to be. That's it for this episode of Inspired Leadership. You'll find a complete transcript of this episode on my website at www.ronkelleher.com. My prayer now is that you'll go out and be the powerful, inspired leader that God intends us to be.
Thanks for listening to the Inspired Leadership Podcast at www.ronkelleher.com.